Good day everyone, my name is Shira Crystal H. Abu and I am from Besad English 3B, and today we are going to talk about Rizal at the University of Santo Tomas 1877 to 1882. Jose Rizal, having completed his Bachelor in Arts at Ateneo Municipal, was now eligible for higher education at a university. His mother, Doña Chidora, had second thoughts about sending her son to school because of the previous incident involving the execution of friars Gomez, Burgos, and Zamora. She was vocal in her opposition to the decision of Don Francisco. However, the father of Rizal was convinced of the great future that awaited his son, whose intelligence was among the best at that time. It was Don Francisco who decided his son to go to University of Santo Tomas, which is a prestigious institution run by the Dominican order. Undecided, Rizal, upon entering the university, was not certain which course of study he wanted to pursue. The Jesuit priest, who had been his former mentors, had advised him to take up farming or to join the order and be a man of the cloth. However, his taste went towards law, literature, or medicine. In the end, he decided to sign up for philosophy and letters during his freshman year because of the following reasons. We have number one. It was what his father would have wanted for him. And number two, he had failed to seek the advice of the rector of Ateneo, which is Father Ramon Pablo. As part of the course, he had to complete units in the following subjects: cosmology and metaphysics, theodicy, history of philosophy. And his report card was very impressive. Shifting to medicine. After completing his first year, Rizal decided to take up medicine as his university course. And this change of heart was due to two factors. Number one, Father Ramon Pablo, rector of the Ateneo, had advised him to pursue the course. Number two, Rizal's mother had failing eyesight and he thought he owed it to her to become a doctor and cure her condition. Rizal's performance at the University of Santo Tomas was not as excellent as his time at the Ateneo, and his grades after shifting to medicine had suffered as well. Rizal's experience of Spanish brutality. Rizal was accustomed to going home during vacation in Calamba to join his family and spending time with them after a long, arduous study as a medical student at UST. One night in 1878, while he was walking alone along a dark street, Rizal failed to recognize the Spanish civil guard who was passing by his side. Thus, he did not bow, salute, or greet the soldier. In a striking distance, the civil guard, or what we call the Guardia Civil, whipped Rizal mercilessly at the back with a dry stingray tail, or what we call the buntot pagi. He suffered from wounds inflicted on his back that lasted for 2 weeks before it completely healed. And Rizal could not accept such brutal treatment inflicted by the civil guard, and he went to Captain General Primo de Rivera and complained of the Spanish soldier. And instead of adhering to Rizal's complaint, the Captain General even reprimanded him, said that Rizal should even be thankful for being alive, and was spared by the Guardia Civil. Jose Rizal manifested his literary genius while at UST. In 1879, The artistic and literary Lyceum, a society whose members were composed of artists in literature, sponsored a contest in poetry writing and composition. Rizal joined the contest and wrote a poem entitled A la Juventud Filipina, or to the Filipino youth, as his entry to the competition. And after the expert reading and scrutiny of the Board of Judges, the entries coming from Spanish, Mestizo, and Filipino students who submitted their respective pieces to the competition, Rizal's poem was adjudged as superior and won him the first prize and recognition in UST and from his hometown in Calamba. In 1880, the same society, the Artistic Literary Lyceum, sponsored another artistic competition in honor of the 264th death anniversary of Spain's most glorified man of letters, Don Miguel de Cervantes, the author of the book Don Quixote, and a celebrated work produced by a Spanish writer. In this competition, many writers participated and submitted their pieces with respective assumed names such as journalists, priests, scholars, and professors. Rizal, on his part, submitted an allegorical drama entitled El Consejo de los Dioses, or the Council of the Gods. After a critical scrutiny and appraisal by an entirely Spanish board of judges, they awarded the first prize to Rizal's literary work due to its superiority and quality. Unfortunately, Rizal was temporarily stripped of the award due to his identity as an Indio Filipino. Despite all objections from Spaniards in Manila, the Board of Judges insisted that the work of Rizal deserved the first place. Thus, Rizal was awarded a gold ring where the bust of Cervantes was engraved, and a Spanish writer took second place. While Rizal was considered a Tomasian, he continued an active connection in Ateneo. He was the president of the Academy of Spanish Literature, secretary of Academy of Natural Sciences, and member of the Marian Congregation. Rizal also composed literary works while an active alumni of Ateneo de Manila and a medical student at UST. He wrote the following artistic pieces. In 1879, Abd al-Aziz I Mahoma, a poem declaimed by an Athenian, Manuel Fernandez, on December 8, 1879, in honor of the Ateneo's patroness. In 1880, Junto al Pasig, or Beside Pasig. It is a zarzuela staged by the Athenians on December 8, 1880, on the feast day of the Immaculate Conception, patroness of the Ateneo. Rizal wrote it as president of the Academy of Spanish Literature. In 1880, A Filipinas, a sonnet for the album of the Society of Sculptors. Rizal urged all Filipino artists to glorify the Philippines. In 1881, Al MRP Pablo Ramon. It is a poem, an expression of affection to Father Pablo Ramon, the Ateneo rector. Romances with other girls. Notwithstanding his academic studies in the University of Santo Tomas and extracurricular activities in Ateneo, Rizal had ample time for love. He was a romantic dreamer who liked to sip the nectar of love, and his sad experience with his first love had made him wiser in the ways of romance. Shortly after losing Segunda Katigbak, he paid court to a young woman in Calamba. In his memoirs, he called her simply Miss L, describing her as fair with seductive and attractive eyes, and after visiting her in her house several times, he suddenly stopped his wooing and the romance died a natural death. Several months later, during his sophomore year at the University of Santo Tomas, He boarded in the house of Doña Concha Liva in Intramuros. The next-door neighbors of Doña Concha were Capitan Juan and Capitana Sanday Valenzuela, parents of a charming girl named Leonor. Rizal, the medical student from Calamba, was a welcome visitor in the Valenzuela home, where he was the life of the social parties because of his clever sleight of hand tricks. He courted Leonor Valenzuela, who was a tall girl, almost as tall as Jose himself, and had a regal bearing. He sent her over love notes written in invisible ink, and this ink consisted of a common table salt and water. It left no trace on the paper, and Rizal, who knew his chemistry, taught Orang, that name of Leonor Valenzuela, the secret of reading any note written in the invisible ink by heating it over a candle or lamp so that the lettering may appear. But as with Segunda, he stopped short of proposing marriage to Urang. Rizal's next romance was with another Leonor Rivera, his cousin from Camiling. In 1879, the start of his junior year at the university, he lived in Casa Tomasina, a boarding house managed by his uncle, Antonio Rivera, at number 6 Calle Santa Tomas, Intramuros. His landlord uncle had a pretty daughter, Leonor, a student at La Concordia College, where Soledad, Rizal's younger sister, was then studying. Leonor, born in Camiling, Tarlac on April 11, 1876, was a frail, beautiful, tender as a budding flower with kindly, wistful eyes. Between Jose and Leonor sprang a tenderly beautiful romance, and they became engaged. In her letters to Rizal, Leonor signed her name as Thymus in order to hide their intimate relationship from their parents and friends. Unhappy days at the UST. Rizal was unhappy in the Dominican institution because, number one, the Dominican professors were hostile to him. Number two, the Filipino students were racially discriminated against the Spaniards. Number three, the method of instruction was obsolete and repressive, and he failed to win high scholastic honors due to the attitude of his professors. Likewise, there were three main reasons for his struggling academic performance. This is according to Guerrero, 1998. Number one, Rizal was not satisfied with the system of education at the university. Number two, there were plenty of things to distract a young man in the peak of his youth. Number three, medicine was not Rizal's true vocation. In the decision to study abroad, Rizal decided to study in Spain after finishing the fourth year of his medical course. And the people who approved this are the following: his older brother, who's his Pasiano, his sisters Saturnina and Lucia, Uncle Antonio Rivera, and the Valenzuela family. And there are some friends. And the people who did not know his decision are the following: Rizal's parents, yes, and Leonor Rivera, and the Spanish authorities. That ends my report. I hope you have learned something, you have got something, and see you in the next discussion. God bless everyone. Thank you for listening.